One of the things I continue to be amazed at is how some organizations continue to treat project or program management as anything but a strategic competency, because all strategic change happens through projects and programs. If you're not good at project management, you put too much at risk in terms of ultimately delivering on strategy. If my competitor can get to the market faster, more efficiently, with a better product because they're more mature in project management, then we're going to be significantly hurt in the long term. And I think that's a gap that executives are working to close, because they recognize that in the end, it becomes about competitive advantage. And when you start to recognize competitive advantage and risk are in play, then maybe executives start to think more strategically. There's really 5 things that distinguishes a champion from underperformers. And the first is really a focus on talent development. So just as there's engineering careers in information technology and human resources, there's a career for project and program management. They have a very formal, documented approach with a focus on the skills, competencies, and behavior necessary to lead their most important initiatives. The second is really how they organize that. So PMOs and EPMOs, it stands for enterprise or just project or program management offices. What's the role of the PMO? How many PMOs should we have? How do they support the functional areas of the organization, and how do they report back up, importantly, to the executives that are making decisions, key decisions around portfolio and investment. A third area, and one I think is really important, is the executive sponsor. Because if you have an engaged executive sponsor that's committed to the project, understands the vision, is communicating the value and change in the organization all the way through the life cycle, removing roadblocks, tearing down silos, freeing up resources when they're needed, where there's an engaged executive sponsor, they've had higher success. The next one is what we call benefits realization management. So we often see projects reported on in newspapers to say this project is over budget and behind schedule by some fold. But what we recognize is that there's another critical aspect of the project, and it's why we do them in the first place. What is the intended benefit from this project? Organizations and the champions have a mature benefits realization management process. They get material benefit from it. And the last one is really adoption and focus on agility and agile practices as a means to that. Every organization is focused on agility. They want to be able to respond to opportunities. The desire to go faster has been an organization mindset forever. But in project management, agile practices are typically attributed to shorter iteration cycles. And in our champion organizations, they're much more likely to have adopted agile as appropriate for that organization.
This is the first video in the European CEO Guide to Project Management, powered by PMI. The next videos dive deeper into each of these 5 elements, starting with talent development. Learn more at pmi.org, and please subscribe for the latest business, finance, and strategic insights from EuropeanCEO.com.